Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Defion Productions podcast. I'm your host, the hardest working nobody in Bitcoin, Don Rinaldi. This is episode 85. We are back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Bitcoin is back over 100K. It's been quite the ride the last couple of months. Let's take a look at the charts to zero us in on things. It looks like we're sitting at 101,342 on the Bitcoin price with a total market cap back over 2 trillion. Looks like we're sitting at 2 trillion and 12 billion 77. It's moving as we speak, but you get the idea. We're back over 2 trillion. Total market cap 3.15 trillion. Fear and greed index is still neutral, even over 100K at 53. Even Ethereum has moved. Ethereum is actually outpacing Bitcoin in the last 24 hours. It's actually up almost like 3.5 times more than Bitcoin in the last 24 hours. And even in the past week, up more than double, back over 2K for Ethereum. XRP moving 224, not up that much. Solana at 159.97, also not really up that much in the last, well, actually it's up 10% in the last 24 hours. Yeah, and everyone's favorite shitcoin we can take a look at as well to see how that one's doing, and that's Picoin's at 63 cents. For all the GCV 314,000, you're just shy of that number. Very, very close to $314,159 of the global consensus value, just coming in under at 63 cents. Yeah, lots to talk about today. We got some news with the president speaking earlier today. We got a trade deal with UK. He's Mr. Trump. President Trump is calling that a win. I listened to the press conference earlier today. They had the Prime Minister of the UK on the call, and they were, giving each other props for the deal, and Lutnick was in the room, and a couple of the other guys for our side were in the room, and they were calling it a victory. It was good. Markets were reacting positively. Let's take a look actually at the stock market. It was up earlier today. I haven't looked in the last couple of hours, but currently we are not going to see it on that page, so let's go back. We are currently at up almost 500 points in the Dow, so that's about a 1.2%. S&P up 68.5 points, which is another 1.22% increase, and the NASDAQ up 313, 1.77. We can take a look at gold as well, because gold has been making moves in the last month, and I believe when I looked earlier, gold was down about 1%. Let's see if it's doing anything different. It's actually down 2%. It's actually 2.3%, down $78.41. So while Bitcoin is moving up, gold is moving down. So it looks like some of the people that were saying that gold kind of front ran before Bitcoin were kind of correct. Maybe some of the moves out of gold are going in to Bitcoin potentially. That might be what we're seeing. I don't know. This story here we can start with. It's kind of relevant. We got 74K to 100K in 4 weeks. It's hard to believe that about a month ago we were sitting in the 70s and we had all that volatility with Liberation Day, Trump announcing all the tariffs and the market gyrations and everybody thinking the sky was falling, and every bear, macro doomer, and shitcoin are sidelined. No retail anywhere. Bitcoin treasuries popping up left and right. Institutional demand finally real. Rates still at 4.5%. No QE. Trade war still ongoing. The U.S. hasn't even announced their first buy, and we're sitting at 101,000 Bitcoin. I like this, and I wanted to bring it up because we've talked about the last couple of weeks on this podcast, the explosion of the M2 money supply chart and how that kind of like is our leading indicator of, the Bitcoin price. And we haven't really fully seen that materialize in the price. And with all things considered, we still have a trade war going on. Yes, we did have this deal with the UK earlier today, but a lot of uncertainty still in China. There's that 90-day pause. We don't know what direction that's necessarily going in. Vietnam we're still negotiating with, Canada, Mexico. So still a lot of uncertainty with the tariffs. Rates have not been dropped. We haven't gotten official QE yet. So none of those like really bullish things that typically will make the price really pop have even happened yet. And here we are sitting at 101K Bitcoin. So when those things do occur, when the rates do drop, when QE does start, when we catch up to that M2 money supply expansion, can you imagine what these prices are going to do? We're really going to see moves. And we've just seen, that 74K to 100K, we basically, went up about 25K in 4 weeks without really any super, bullish news in regards to the things that typically will make this market really rip. And if we take a look at this tweet from Jason Williams, distances from the all-time high. This is from 8 o'clock this morning. This is before Bitcoin went over 101K. So we're actually a little bit less than down 8.9% right now. We're probably down about 6-ish, 5.5, 6-ish. And also Ethereum, to be fair, is also probably not as low as this here. But as of 8 o'clock this morning, Bitcoin down 8.9% from its all-time high. Ethereum down 60.8% from its all-time high. XRP down 35.9. BNB down 22.3. Solana 48.5. Dogecoin down 75.2. Cardano down 77.1. Tron down 42.1%. And then he says, I think these alts move. They always do. If you don't think they will, you're probably not going to make it. I do disagree with Jason's take on thinking that all these alts are going to move, because I don't. I don't think we're going to see all of these coins make the typical moves that we do in a typical bull market. I don't think this is really shaping up to be that typical bull market. We still have Bitcoin dominance really high. Where are we sitting on Bitcoin dominance? We are at 63.8, almost 64% of Bitcoin dominance in May of 2025. And if we chart the 4-year cycle, the blow off top typically happens within the next 5 or 6 months. And Bitcoin dominance is still so extremely high. ETH is at 7.9. That's extremely low for ETH, not even at double digits. So I don't know if we're necessarily going to get what people really think and expect. And I think that people are going to be making a mistake, my opinion, not financial advice, but my opinion. I think people are going to be making a mistake if they're going to be rotating into like Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, and all these altcoins, thinking that they're going to get these typical pumps that you get in these other cycles where you have these altcoin seasons per se. Bitcoin has really held up extremely well throughout all of this stuff, all the uncertainty, all the crazy stuff that's been going on. I mean, look at these altcoins. Dogecoin down 75.2% right now in this quote unquote bull market. Ethereum down 60% in a bull market. Cardano, ADA, like one of the top 10 coins for however how long, is down 77% in a bull market. I mean, these are astronomically high rates of losses for these coins, for people that have been probably holding these coins expecting way better returns than what they've been getting when they could have been sitting in Bitcoin and outperforming. So I think people are going to be surprised when they expect these big moves from these alternative coins that are just not going to happen, at least to the extent that they expect. I'm not saying that we're not going to get pumps in some of these coins, because everything rides the coattails of Bitcoin. I mean, if we get a pump, a candle from 100 to 150, I mean, logic is going to tell you that these other coins are going to go up as well. But I don't think you're going to see the days where, Bitcoin makes a 50% move and these altcoins make like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 X's. Maybe there'll be a meme coin that gets released, or maybe there'll be a random shit coin that's something, that you do see that 20 or 30 X in. But I think the days of like printing money in altcoins are over. I think the institutional adopters that are coming in, your BlackRocks, your Fidelities, your sovereign wealth funds, your GMEs, your MicroStrategies, your Palantirs, these companies that are putting it on their balance sheet, they're not shitcoining, man. They're the big buyers now. I don't think we're going to see that big retail move that we've seen in these previous cycles and I think it was always to be expected. I mean, we're at a price point now where the average person can't afford to buy one Bitcoin. I mean, coming up with $101,000 to put into Bitcoin to buy one coin is just way out of reach for the majority of people in this country, let alone underdeveloped countries. So, it's unit bias. People are gonna probably still think, well, I'm going to go buy, shitcoin X that's $3 a coin and pump my money over there instead of, buying $1,000 of Bitcoin or buying $10,000 of Bitcoin or whatever the case may be. I know that's still going to exist. And that's why some of those coins I think will still have some moves. But everything is trending to zero compared to Bitcoin. It's just the fact of the matter. And we had big news this week. At least I think it was big news, and a lot of other Bitcoiners thought it was big news. Strike, Jack Mallers' company, announced Strike Lending. The tweet, you shouldn't have to sell the best performing asset in human history to access cash. Now you don't have to. Access your Bitcoin wealth without selling it. Build a better life on top of Bitcoin with Strike. Strike Lending is live for both individual accounts and business accounts. We're expanding across the U.S. fast. International markets are coming soon. And then he's got some other stuff going with 0% origination fee and 0% early repayment fee. We want our customers to benefit from our product getting better. We're focused on improving our rates. Top-ups to grow on existing loans, proof of reserves lending, removing the minimum maximum loan size, and growing the markets the product is available. And then he goes on to talk about borrowing cash or using your collateral. What I seen in regards to how the loans look like they're being constructed, you got your basic LTV, borrowing up to 50% loan to value. So if you want to borrow off of one Bitcoin at this price of 101,000, you can get about 50K in cash while they hold on to that Bitcoin as collateral. And obviously, with any loans of this magnitude, you're always at the risk of being margin called. If Bitcoin was to drop significantly over a period of time, which could happen, you could potentially get called, have to post up more Bitcoin to cover the margin, or risk losing your Bitcoin. So there's still risk in these products. My personal thoughts on this, which I'll share since this is my podcast, I'm hoping and confident that eventually there'll be a mature product that'll exist, that'll allow me to borrow against my Bitcoin, where I think it'll be really safe, and there's always going to be a certain amount of risk, but where the risk will be minimized. I don't think yet we're there. I think this is a good step in the right direction. I think we're getting closer. But for me personally, would I put up one Bitcoin right now and get 50K cash off one Bitcoin and feel comfortable with Strike holding my one Bitcoin? I can't say that I would be at this point yet. I do like Jack. I think Jack is a good actor for our space. I think he has good intentions. But Jack is going down that same pathway and looking to do the same sort of thing with Strike. And he's seen that that's kind of where Saylor was going, and that's where Jack's going with Strike at this point. On to our next article here. We have I'll play this.
I just want to jump in for a second. We lost some audio for a few minutes there.
Okay.
So right before the point, I got it back, but apologies for that. We just something happened on it. So
Okay.
not very long, maybe like a couple minutes there. So we lost some audio on your
Okay.
previous point. So I didn't know if you wanted to re-talk about that tweet at all, or if you just wanted to kind
I
of move
just I
on.
just clicked it out, but I
So
just break it
sorry
down real
about
quick.
that.
That's okay. That was just talking about Strike. Jack Mahler's the big story of the week. Strike is allowing you to loan against your Bitcoin, giving you the opportunity to get I think it's like 12% interest rate, 50% loan to value. So you can loan against your Bitcoin. If you have one Bitcoin and you want to loan it out, you can get 50,000 cash. And I was kind of talking about the risks that still I think exist. I think we're stepping in the right direction. I think things are getting better. The market is maturing. But personally, my opinion, just my opinion again, because this is my podcast and I can give my opinion. I don't think it's yet where I would like it to be to comfortably use my Bitcoin to borrow against yet. Uh, Although, like I said, I think Jack's a good actor. I think Jack has good intentions. And then I kind of talked about MicroStrategy, I believe, going into the business of being a Bitcoin bank with the 555,000 Bitcoin they have currently on their balance sheet. I think that they're going to be probably by 2030 predominantly a Bitcoin bank that's going to be lending, doing a lot of lending in our ecosystem. And I think that's kind of what MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor are ultimately looking to do. We can put this tweet up here by Carl Menger. This is just kind of showing everything, all major assets against Bitcoin. And you can kind of see starting out with the dollar. I'll to the side. You got gold, real estate, everything, as you can see, is trending towards zero. It starts up here at the top and just is trending towards zero. You got Apple, which is one of the most successful stocks, JP Morgan, priced in Bitcoin, the Dow Jones priced in Bitcoin, NASDAQ priced in Bitcoin, Tesla priced in Bitcoin. So you can kind of see, that things are all starting out very, very high compared to Bitcoin and then eventually trending their way down towards zero, like every asset is, like we always say. Holding Bitcoin long term is the best way to preserve your buying power, in my opinion. Really quick, I want to pivot to two things. Number one, if you're watching this podcast live, you can see at the bottom of the screen, right down at the bottom, you got our socials. If you don't follow us on or follow me on X, you can follow me on X at Rinaldi_Don. Defion_Labs for Defion Productions on X. Our YouTube is Defion Productions. If you're watching this on X right now or watching this on Facebook, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're live right now on all three of those platforms. So if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us on X, or you're watching us on Facebook, you can find us at those other two platforms that you're not currently watching us on. That's number one. Number two, I want to share, because I use this website often and I'll tweet about it and sometimes post on Facebook about it as well. But I kind of want to just take a couple of minutes to show this website and kind of go over it a little bit. This is freecash.com. If you are looking to accumulate Bitcoin or, God forbid, shitcoins and do it cost effectively and get coins for free, this is the best website, in my opinion, to use. And you can see right here where I'm circling my cursor. I've earned almost $4,000 USD on this site using this platform to accumulate Bitcoin. Right now, I got about $30 on there. It gives you the option, if you go to cash out, as I'll just show you this real quick, it gives you multiple options to cash out. Now, for me, I want to cash out into Bitcoin, so I use Bitcoin. And you can see at the bottom, Bitcoin's right here. I can withdraw to Bitcoin. You can use Litecoin, you can use Ethereum, and you can use Dogecoin for crypto. So those are the four cryptos that you can use on this site. You got Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. Many other options, though, if crypto's not your thing, but you still want to earn free money. You got Visa, MasterCard, virtual cards, Google Play, Amazon cards, Apple cards, PayPal cards, or you can just withdraw right to your bank account and do a bank transfer. For our non-New York State listeners and watchers, because in New York State, we don't have stake. You can use stake.us in the 49 other states that aren't retarded like New York State, and you can withdraw to stake and get a 15% bonus on whatever you withdraw. So if you withdraw $100, they give you $115 to your stake account. Revolt has the same sort of thing, $10, looks like a $10 bonus. So withdraw to Revolt, you get a $10 bonus the first time you do that. Google Play, all these things here. So those are your cash out options.
All right, so I'm a dopey guy.
Yes.
I don't know what this is.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit more about what this app is.
And I perfect timing because I was going to go into that.
Yeah.
So if we go right to this this screen here, right? This is our earning screen. So the easiest thing you could do on here, it can be kind of time consuming and it isn't super profitable and I don't necessarily recommend, but they have all these surveys. And if you clicked on a survey, which if I did right now and clicked on a survey, it would pop up and it would give you the opportunity to complete the survey. And you could expect for this one, you answer a couple questions to get 35 cents if you complete the survey. Like I said, not very profitable, very time consuming. I don't recommend to do that necessarily. Every once in a while, you see a survey pop up that'll be a couple of dollars, sometimes $5 or $6. I would recommend trying to do those because that would be worth the time. The way that you want to use this site, and if you look at the top, you see $767 for solitaire cash, $386 for Tiki Solitaire. So what I do, if you click on this first one here, this is an app, right? So downloading the app, for some apps, they'll pay you just to download it. This isn't one of them. But for some of them, you'll see if you download the app, it'll give you some money. So this one here, install and open the app, you don't get anything. If you play on this app, and you can win real money. If you were to try this app out and deposit $5 and win 5 rounds of cash games, you basically get the $5 you gave them back into this account. Just for playing for 2 minutes, you get 1 cent per day, which obviously isn't a lot. But if you play on 7 different days in a row, you get 75 cents back. If you play for 20 days, different days, $2, 30 different days, $15. So you start to get, and then if you hit these milestones here, winning 100, all these rounds here, you would get money on that app. Now, these are apps that you're going to have to sometimes pay for, put money out to get money back. That's not fun. That's not necessarily free. You can do those things, and I do. What I would suggest is going over here to some of these partners. So down here, you got all these partners down here. I'm going to go to this one here, My Chips first, okay? So My Chips, if you click on this one, I've downloaded a ton of these apps, which is why I've made so much money on this site. But if you click some of these things here, my favorite ones to play are the slots, because all you do, they give you like 10 million coins for free on the site. So you click it, install the app, you get 30 points, reach level 20, 42, level 50, 245. Reaching these levels isn't very difficult. You don't have to spend any money and you're just spinning your app. And then when you're done, you delete it, which I've done. I've deleted these apps. Like I'll download them, play for a little bit, delete them. Every once in a while, you get a cool app where if you click on the app and you download it, this is what I look for. And again, if you're using the site for the first time, I would spend a lot of time just going through. I try to find an app where they're going to pay me like $1 to download the app, and I really don't even like the app. I download it, I keep it on my phone for about 30 seconds, and I delete it. And you get credited $1 for that site, okay? So the other thing too is as you're earning money on the site, every single day you get an opportunity to get a bonus. So I got a 46-day streak going. All you have to do is earn at least 1 cent a day, and you get an opportunity to win $10 per day. And every 7th day, you get an opportunity to win $1,000. This past Sunday, I think I won $5 on a spin. So I just spun it, and I got an extra $5 in my account. And like I said, if you go back here, all these things here, you go through there, very simple. Most of these, if you've never used DraftKings before and you've wanted to start using DraftKings, I would suggest coming here, because if you put $10 or more, place your first wager, they're going to give you $60 on this site to do that. So if you've never used DraftKings ever before, deposit $10 on a DraftKings, and this site is going to give you 60,000 tokens, which is worth $60. So you risk 10 to get 60 from the site, and you can literally put the $60 back into your account, and you're risking nothing. You're getting $50 to try the site.
Betting anyway,
Yeah, exactly. And you got FanDuel will give you 42,000 here. Again, here's another good site, like checking your credit score. If you want to try a 7-day trial to Experian, pay $1 for a 7-day trial, cancel it after 7 days. I do this all the time. I'm notorious for signing up for free trials on here and canceling it on the 6th day. $9. Pay $1, $9 back. So you basically get paid $8 to try out this site.
And what
That's
I'm
how.
noticing is some of, I mean, these are things I've heard of too. These aren't
Yes.
just like some random things that, feel like a scam or something. These are all like Xperia and like, those Expedia, like those are all real sites. Like obviously the FanDuel and
Yeah.
all that those are real sites.
Now you're not going to get rich on this site. And again, I've made $4,000, but as you can see, like in the last 30 days, I made 122. The thing about this $4,000 though, I've made this from the site. That doesn't count bonuses. So I've probably got another $2 or $3,000 in bonuses from this site because during the holidays, like during Christmas, sometimes during like I know they'll probably do one like during the summer. You'll have these contests where if you gain a certain amount of dollars, you get either a bonus or you get a case where you can open the case and win up to like $1,000 on a case. One year they did like 2,500, and during like Christmas, I gained like an extra $200 during the month of December on top of the 200 or 300 that I made. But I've had some months where usually it's been slow for me, but I usually on average make about 300 from them and then another 150 or 200 on bonuses. So I can make 400 or 500 a month from this site. And I'll put it, like I said, I put it right into Bitcoin. I use it strictly for Bitcoin. You can use it for extra cash, pay a bill, pay your cell phone, whatever you want to do. When you refer people too, I can kind of show you the referral process. And I do want to show this because I'll show you somebody that I referred. Right now I'm getting, I only made $75 on referrals and I get 8% of the people that I refer. But let me show you this. I showed this guy literally how to do this site 3 months ago. And that's how much he's made. $934 in 3 months. He's absolutely crushing this site. I did what I basically showed him what I just showed on this video, and he's been doing it on the side. He works a full-time job. He's not doing, like, he just does it on the side. Like I'm watching TV and I'll do this, or like if you're in the bathroom, like any downtime, you can do it. He's made $934 in 3 months from this website. Free cash, just free. My referral code, I'll put it in the I'm going to put it in the description of the video if you want to click it. It's on my socials as well. I share it from time to time. Yeah, it's my favorite way to earn free Bitcoin. And at $100,000 Bitcoin, $4,000 is 0.04 Bitcoin. I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at as you're trying to accumulate your next milestone of Bitcoin.
What's neat about it is it's if you've got the time. It's just you're not you're not. There's not. You're going to make as much money as you put into it.
And Jeremy, like I said, Jeremy is doing it strictly to Bitcoin. So $934 dollar cost averaging. He's over 1 million sats.
Yeah, if you're just sitting around playing games or something, you might as well just do something like this and get some money for it. Because like I'm constantly like, my wife. I'm going to recommend this to my wife because she's definitely on all these things. She plays all these goofy games all the time, and then she's always buying the $20 this and the $30 this to get past the level or whatever. I'm like, you might as well do this and then at least pay for itself a little bit, and then maybe make some money along on the side because she'll like doing the surveys and stuff. She'll sit there and do surveys. She'll look for. She's really good at doing that stuff. So this would be something that she could do to make a little bit extra money. And I don't care if she buys Bitcoin or if she buy shoes, as long as it's
There's another bonus thing too if you like gambling. I just take the free 10 cents every day because I don't want to risk it, but you can double up your 10 cents to 20 cents all the way up to $52 if you win every single double up. You're basically just rolling. You either win or you lose. I just take the 10 cents. It's 70 free cents a week that I just take. I just take the free 10 cents. I never roll it. But you can win up to $51.20 of winning that many rolls in a row if you're want to be a degenerate. Then they have leaderboards too. It's very tough. If you look, this is the daily leaderboard. So the guy in first place made $500 just today, and he gets $50 for that. And they pay the top, I think the top 1,000 people a day. And then the $5,000 a month leaderboard, you get $500 if you make the most money for the month. So somebody's already made $2,500 just this month. It's crazy. I mean, that's an insane amount of. They must not have jobs to do all that stuff. But, like I said, I'm gonna put the link in the description for my affiliate link. I appreciate if you do click it. Like I said, I'll. It doesn't come off anything that you make, but I'll get an extra 8% on anything that you actually do from the site. It's just my finder's fee for helping you make some extra money. But I want to take some time to kind of go over this because I had a conversation with the guy that I helped, and I didn't realize he was doing so well. I tweeted a couple things, and he was like thanking me, and then I'm like, well, let me take a look and see like what he's done because I know I'm getting a little bit of rewards. And then when I went and I looked, and I'm like, holy cow! Like I literally showed this dude 3 months ago. He's grinding harder than me. He's making almost $1,000, and literally I showed him in like January or February, and he's up like 90. I got $62 from this guy just by doing this, breaking it down and showing to him. So I'm like, why am I not showing more people? It's not like, I mean, I made $62 to show him so far, but like, look how much he's made, and he's just using the site that I showed him. He never would have. So if I didn't show him, that's $1,000 extra in his pocket just for me showing that one person. I haven't really done that too much. As you can see, like people will go on here and do it, but they don't really, maybe they don't really understand how to use the site. I'm not really sure. I don't know why you would sign up and not utilize it and not, get the free money.
Referred them and they just joined it and didn't even know what they were
doing.
Doing.
I don't know what's going on.
A lot of people that just,
yeah, like, they think it's just going to be free.
These things with these apps, like these games and stuff. And then everybody's like, we're like Words with Friends, everybody was playing it for months and months and months, and they just did it because everybody else was. So that might have been something they just joined it because it was there. Someone said, "Hey, you should play this game," because not realizing that they're getting their friends are making money off the referral or care. I mean,
yeah,
don't care.
Yeah,
I wouldn't care if you referred me. I'm probably going to do it just to see what happens. I don't know when I'm going to find time to do it, but so that's cool. Good stuff.
On to our next article. Mayor of Vancouver, Canada, says it would be financially irresponsible for the city not to buy Bitcoin. BTC could fund the city for the next 100 years. I will die in this hill. So you got the mayor of Vancouver, Canada, a very large city in Canada, basically saying that the city needs to put Bitcoin in its strategic Bitcoin reserve, I guess you could say. It's pretty big. I mean, you're seeing these cities make this this realization that if they want to save some of these funds that they've been pumping money into, that they've promised people that they're going to pay them up to a certain amount of time in the retirement, and they realize that these funds are not solvent, they better find some alternatives, and Bitcoin presents as a potential alternative to some of these poor policies that people have engaged in regards to their wealth funds. I got a video here of Saylor. It's about 4 minutes long. I'm going to play this for the viewers really quick because I think it's good, as many videos are of Michael Saylor. So I'll do that here.
Every Bitcoin treasury company is a motor on the network, right? Torquing the network, right? Like that. And so as they get bigger, they're going to get exponentially more powerful. Metaplanet is getting exponentially more powerful. Similar is getting exponentially more powerful. We are getting more powerful, right? So I think that they're part of the dynamic that's going to drive the market. But my thought is it should be growing 30 to 60% a year for the next decade, and my long-term forecast is 30%, 29% ARR over about 21 years. So I haven't changed my view on that. And I think that everyone that gets involved, you are a driver, right? Everybody in this room is a driver. Every company that adopts Bitcoin is a driver. Every time a politician advocates for it, they're driving it forward. But you know what? Every single time a politician blocks something or reacts negatively to, they're driving it forward, right? You can't pay for the marketing we just got in Arizona, right? That's going to catalyze millions and millions of people to say, well, what is this thing? Was that the right decision, right? Should we reevaluate this? So So I think that everything is good for Bitcoin.
So Strategy is the company whose phone is always going to be ringing as new companies start to enter into this market. What sense are you getting that this is really accelerating at a much faster pace than people are thinking?
I think a year ago, there was us, and then Semler and MetaPlanet, which are companies with an operating strategy that adopted a Bitcoin strategy. And really, that was just a year ago, right? Came out and said that they were going to adopt a Bitcoin treasury company strategy. And now we're up to 70 companies. So if you extrapolate that out, that means that next year, right, we could be at 700 companies, right? And I think, look, success breeds interest. And we're at a time when there is just a lot of uncertainty in the economic environment, which causes companies to ask themselves, how do we create value for our shareholders? And if they go out and they just say, let's look at the top 15 companies in the world last year, you know, number one is MetaPlanet. Semler follows somewhere in there, and I think we were number 14, right? Like, you would think that that would cause people to be interested. I think the other piece is you know, a lot of folks talk about the Overton window and what's happening with the U.S. government and the embracement of a strategic Bitcoin reserve, digital asset framework, stablecoin bills. We have an administration who's very supportive of Bitcoin. It makes everybody wake up and say, hey, what is this Bitcoin thing? Right? So I think we're early, but I think the acceleration is real. And I think, you know, from last year to this year, right? We held this conference last year in Las Vegas. I think there are about 50 to 100 attendees. This year we're at 300 attendees. And I think in this room, there's probably 400 interested folks, right? Next year, maybe we'll have 1,000. Right, so I think the acceleration is absolutely real.
I agree with that last statement that you know, the acceleration is definitely very real. I also just tweeted out the link to that free cash website on my Twitter account. If you want to go to my Twitter account and sign up on free cash, you can do that. It's up there right now. I just did it while the video was playing. But yeah, I mean, Michael Saylor, I really believe that he's trying to create basically a Bitcoin lending platform with MicroStrategy, and he's leveraging that. And you know, the interest of what they've done over the past. I mean, what if you really just take a step back and think about like what Saylor and MicroStrategy have been able to do in a 5-year time period. I mean, we're not talking about a decade or decades. We're not talking about like super long time. I mean, in 2020 and we're talking about the pandemic, like it wasn't that long ago. And they basically turned a dying company into one of the most successful companies on Wall Street. One of the darlings of Wall Street, where they can have events where hundreds, if not thousands of people are interested in hearing what they're thinking and how their, you know, no pun intended, strategy is moving forward, and how they plan to build their company, and how other companies looking to get to where strategy is, how they can copycat that model. So I find it very fascinating that these companies are interested, and you know, they're coming to these conferences that they're having and having these types of conversations, and it's still even wild, like hearing him talk about, you know, our administration being so pro Bitcoin friendly, and in the SBR news that you hear. We talked last week about how Arizona had both their House and their Senate passed the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve Bill, and then it was vetoed by their governor. So that isn't wasn't too surprising. We kind of expected that. Democrat governor vetoing it. But there's a lot of other. I guess Texas also passed it, and they have a Republican governor, so I think that it's going to be official there. And the U.S. when we talked earlier about probably about 25 minutes ago about how we haven't even had the U.S. officially announce any adding of Bitcoin to what we already have. Imagine when that happens. Imagine that announcement when, the United States or even Trump in a soundbite says, we just bought 10,000 Bitcoin or acquired 10,000 Bitcoin and we're going to add it to our desired strategic reserve. Just imagine how that news will play and what that will do for price and what that will do for sentiment and other companies that have maybe been on the fence about, following Strategy's playbook and being like, holy crap, this is definitely for real. And we should definitely, it's crazy because, someone's got to go through the fire first before people can realize that, you're not going to get burnt as bad as you thought. That first one's got to go through and you got to see how they react to that before others go through. And the thing is, like, the first guy that goes through always gets the most benefits and everybody that comes in after have diminishing benefits. So these companies have had 5 years to make this decision and do it. They could have had sub 100K Bitcoin since Strategy decided to do this up until obviously, the end of last year when we got the 100K price at the inauguration. I'm sorry, the Trump winning the election leading up to the inauguration. They had the opportunity to have sub 100K Bitcoin. And then for most of 2024, especially since the beginning of April, we dipped back down to 70. So they've had plenty of opportunities. And it's just going to keep going up. It's everything else is, and it's not just that Bitcoin goes up. It's that the dollar keeps buying less. I mean, that's the concept that's difficult for people to conceptualize. Yes, the Bitcoin price goes up, number goes up, everybody gets excited. But one of the biggest reasons why the number goes up, why Bitcoin is worth more every single, epoch, is because the dollar buys less and less. The worst thing you can hold is cash. I mean, it's tough because people are used to like hiding cash under the mattress, and we're a generation or two away from that philosophy after the Great Depression, where people thought just hoard your cash because it's the safest thing you can do. Like, don't trust institutions, don't trust banks, and in many respects, you still shouldn't trust banks and institutions, but. Holding on to cash is one of the worst things you can do. It's a melting ice cube. You have to find assets where you can park that cash into that are going to outpace inflation and the decreasing buying power of said dollar. That's the S&P 500, real estate, gold recently, the paintings. Like, people put their money into things that they expect to outperform, because the dollar significantly underperforms. We have bank accounts now, brick and mortar banks, that are giving you less than 1% on your money. Meanwhile, inflation is 3 or 4%. So that means if you have $100,000 in a bank getting 1%, you're losing 3% every year that you keep it there. And even if you decide to put your money in one of those online only accounts that maybe give you the 4%, you're basically breaking even. You're basically getting back the lost buying power that inflation is eroding away, and you're just going into the next year with what you already had. So you're not making anything. You got to get past that 3 or 4% just to be at zero. That's the concept that people don't understand when they tell you what their rate of return. Oh, I'm getting 5, 6, 7%. It's like, what's your real rate of return? Like, you have to take into consideration what the inflation rate is, and God knows that they lie to us, and it's not really the 2.9 or whatever how they tell us. Like, depending on what metric you're using or what you buy in your life, like, if you really want to break it down, inflation hits everybody differently because people buy different things, right? If you're just talking about just groceries, then we can all, go by one metric that is affecting just the grocery sector. But if you're in the building industry, the inflation metrics there are going to be different than somebody that's in maybe electronics. The electronic inflation is going to be, so all these different, if you're selling cars, and you can kind of see, like, depending on the sector that you're in, inflation is going to hit you differently, and you got to figure out what that number is, and that's your zero, right? If the inflation in your sector is 5%, you better get a rate of return of at least 5 just to be at zero before you can start saying what your real actual rate of return is. If your inflation rate is 5 and your rate of return is 10, you're really only getting 5. You're not getting 10 because your first 5 is getting you back to zero. And not enough people like really take the time to think about that, especially when you ask them like, oh, like, what are you getting? Like just a basic financial conversation when you talk about like financial advisors that they have and maybe their portfolio, like, oh, my portfolio got 10% last year, 11%. It's like, did it? Did it really get 10%? Because when you take the first 3 away, that's just inflation. It got 7, right? If you were to liquidate that account, you would owe taxes on the full 10. So take another 3.5 away. So out of that 10, we're chopping off about 6.5. You really only got 3. You need to get 10 to get 3. That's reality. Those are the difficult, like uncomfortable conversations most people don't want to have. Your financial advisor ain't going to have that conversation with you because it makes him look worse. It's great for him to trot out a 12% balance sheet. Look, I got you 12% last year. But did he? Did you get 12%? If you were going to retire next year, is that really 12%? When you start taking distributions and you're really going to start feeling the effects of inflation, what's your real rate of return? And people don't have those types of conversations. They just think, we've talked about this ad nauseum on this podcast. And I've had so many conversations with people when they're like, you know how much money I made on my house when I sold it? My response is, do you? Because I don't think you do. You bought your house for $150 and sold it for $400. You didn't make $250,000. Your buying price and your selling price difference was $250,000. That's fair. You can say I bought it for $150, sold it for $400. So the difference between those two numbers is $250,000. But you didn't make $250,000 on that sale. Go ahead, Rich.
I got to jump in because I'm not even looking from an investment standpoint. Think about the standpoint of this. How much did you put into that house? Right? Mm-hmm. Did you redo the kitchen, redo the bathroom, windows, new carpets? What did you put into the house? You're not getting back. You're not getting that back. And also, while you own that house, how much did you pay on the interest on your mortgage? So forget about like anything else. I mean, like you're losing. No one buys a house because, like, if you're buying a house because you think you're making money on it, like I try to show people sometimes, like, okay, like you bought a house for, I'll pick a number, $200,000, right? And we've talked about this off the air before. Like, if you're doing a 30-year mortgage at, let's say you got 6% a few years ago and it was 6%, you end up paying how much for that house when you add up all the payments over 30 years, right? What is
double.
It like?
It's like over double.
Yeah, it's over double at about 6%. You move into the 8 or 9%, it's like 2.5 times, maybe almost 3 times, depending on how how much. How much you put down.
When I looked a couple of years ago, $200K at 7% over 30 years, you think you paid back $480.
Right. That makes about sense. I would say I agree with. Yeah, I would say that sounds right compared to, because I think my first house was
280. 280 was the interest. So you paid $480,000 for your $200,000 house.
Well, like when I had a house that I bought when I first started teaching in '93. When I bought that house, my second year of working in the fall of '93, and '92 or whatever, and I was there for 10 years. And I basically broke even because of the way the market was at that point. 10 years later, I sold that house, and I basically sold it for only a couple thousand more than I had paid for it. And I'd also redone the kitchen, and I had done a bunch of things to it. I'm like, I knew I wanted to get out of that house. It wasn't like it wasn't. I knew that was the best that I was going to get, especially because I was on a contingency for the house that my wife really wanted. And I'm like, you realize how much we lost by moving. You know, we set ourselves back when you consider how much. And people like, how much did you make when you sell that? It's always the first conversation you have with someone when you
And
sell your house.
they ask a question that they will not understand the answer to. They don't even understand how to break down that. Right. And that's why, like, when I have this conversation often with real estate people, they don't come from a place that is genuine or any sort of understanding when you're really breaking numbers down. All they see is cash flow. When you have a real estate conversation with people, it's all about cash flow. It's like, well, I own real estate because I have cash flow, this, that, and the third. It's like, okay, but like, you have so many counterparty risks when you own real estate, especially when you own multiple properties, you have tenants. There are so many things outside of your control that are threats to that portfolio that don't exist with Bitcoin. And Bitcoin outperforms.
There's just so many things that go into, like, I know a lot of people that will talk about, I'm going to flip a house or I'm going to do this and that stuff. And it seems like a good idea, you know, and if you're doing it because you want to if you want to do it because you're really into flipping houses, like if you're doing it because it's like, I'm going to do it with my cousin and we're going to do this and there's a creative, like if you're doing it from a creative, but if you're doing it because you really have to understand what you're up to. Like people have asked me over there, like, well, you're handy, you could flip a house. And I'm like, I could, but like financially, I have
time consuming.
It's time consuming for the labor. How much do you need? That's that's exactly it. If I'm going to spend 6 months working, right, let's say it's 30 hours a week doing the renovations, how much could I would have made if I just went and got a job at Home Depot? Financially, it might have been better off just like not doing that.
Yeah.
You know, and there's no risk. Like, you know, there's no risk that, you know, that the market drops out. Like, you know, when I've talked about this, I think warning people about the housing market right now, I'm a little nervous. It might benefit the people that don't own a home right now in a couple years if the market dies. Because those are the people that will be in a position that they can swoop in if the market dies.
Yeah. We can start to wrap up a little bit because that's basically all the stuff that I really wanted to go over today. I do want to end with this this last tweet because I think this really is important to remember. And especially if you're watching this podcast and you got a Bitcoin maxi in front of you for, you know, an hour speaking to you, sometimes, you know, the viewer can forget and maybe I forget. So we all need to be reminded that Bitcoin is a tool, not the goal. The goal is the freedom. Bitcoin will provide the freedom that the traditional system of finance takes away from us. I tweeted or posted something earlier about Social Security, about how like you put X amount of dollars into Social Security. I think if the average person puts like 600,000 into Social Security, and if you were to put that in a fund compounding over the course of your working career at 5%, it would be like 1.9 million or some arbitrary number. It's not necessarily relevant, but the fact of the matter is, you put money into Social Security, and they're having an argument right now, and the congressmen and the congresswomen are referring to Social Security as the money of the people, as our money. Let me let you in on a little secret that you may not know or want to accept. Social Security is not yours. It's just not. You know how I know that and can tell you that with complete conviction? If you take Social Security as a single man with no spouse, and you take it at age 65 and you die the next day, guess what happens to that money? Doesn't go to anybody. It goes right back into the system. You can't gift that to anybody. You can't give it to your kids. If there's no spouse present, the money stops. So it's not your money. It's the government's money. They take your money and they hold it hostage. And, you know, we can talk about the other areas of finance that hold your money hostage as well, but we don't have enough time for that. But when your money is in the system, it's designed to hold it. I mean, 401ks and IRAs is designed to hold it until you're 60, 59 and a half. Social Security, they hold it until you're at least 62. And then if you die without a significant other, they keep all of it. Or if you do die with a significant other, they just give them a bump up in what you were getting. So the other example is like if you do die and you have a spouse and you were getting 3,000 and she gets 2, all she gets is the extra 1,000. She doesn't get your 3. She doesn't get 5,000 a month now or get the balance that was supposed to be paid out to you. No, she only gets the extra 1,000, the difference. So you're paying money into a system and they take it. The system is set up for you to be a slave. The system is set up for you to be a slave. And Bitcoin is an opportunity, the only opportunity, in my opinion, for regular, everyday, normal people to take back control and take back their freedom. And that's why it exists. And that's why us Bitcoiners and us Bitcoin maxis will continue to preach the gospel of Bitcoin and try to onboard as many people as we possibly can as we make this journey up to $1 million plus a coin, which is inevitable. That's why, I started this podcast when I did. And felt it was important to be a voice in the community. And that's why I'm active on, X with, Bitcoin communities, the Bitcoin army. That's why I think it's important for people like myself and people much smarter than me to preach this Bitcoin gospel to people so they can understand, especially people come into this ecosystem and say crypto and ask about crypto. How's your crypto doing? Or what do you think about crypto? And people are always surprised when I say I think crypto's trash. And they're like, what? Dude, you do a crypto podcast. No, I do a Bitcoin podcast. I don't do a crypto podcast. I do a Bitcoin podcast, and I podcast with a guy who sometimes shitcoins, who is getting very close to being a Bitcoin maxi. So understanding education, it's important. I'm a vessel. I'm just a everyday normal pleb who did the work and understands it and is out here trying to help others do the same. A little bit of housekeeping. In 3 weeks, I'm going to have a special guest on the podcast. We're going to take a little bit of time on this podcast. It's not going to be Bitcoin or crypto related. But there's somebody in the community, somebody I went to high school with, friend of the family. Their family's going through something. He has a daughter, a 10-year-old daughter that has cancer, and she's going through a battle. And they're having a benefit locally for her in June. And I'm going to have him on at the end of, and I think her as well, at the end of May. So the last Thursday of May, he's going to come on the podcast. He's going to tell the story. We're going to put a QR code up so people can donate to this 10-year-old girl that's going through this struggle and this local family that's going through the struggle. For those of you that aren't in this area watching, this is the only live stream Bitcoin podcast in the Western New York area. We film out of Niagara Falls. This is a fellow Niagara Falls resident, and I felt it was my duty as having this small little platform. If even I can get 2 or 3 people to donate some extra dollars, I'll do it. I want to clip some stuff for him to put on his social media pages, and I want to help out a family in need. So in a couple weeks, we'll have that on the podcast. So we'll take up some time where we won't necessarily be talking Bitcoin and crypto, but we will be doing. Like I said, I ended with this: Bitcoin is a tool, not the goal. The goal is freedom. It's all about time with family and getting some of that time back. And I felt it was important to support that local family, and we will. On that note, as always, as we always say with everything in life, don't trust, verify. Thanks for watching.